free education and receive occupation in IT business. Mykhailo Fedorov, Minister of Digital Transformation, with us. Borniakov is Deputy Minister with us, and Jim Hove, Director of Minister of Mission of USAID, is with us, and Representative of Binance Ukraine is with us, and Ivan Babichuk, Head of the Board of Lviv IT Cluster, is with us. Good day to everyone, and I first give the floor to Mr. Minister. Very simple question: what kind of project is that? Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your kind attention. You know that we actively develop IT and digital economy in Ukraine this year. 2 weeks before the war, we launched a DSCT project, one of the best tax and legal systems in the world for IT companies. And we have KPI where our target is to increase the part of IT in GDP of our country up to 10%. If we look at the figures before the war, it's a complex issue. It's an issue of taxation, excessive legal system, and naturally, it's an issue of education itself, and it's a fundamental problem that has to be tackled, and we have to pay a lot of attention to. And over the last 6 months, we elaborated our vision of reform of IT and education, what have to do to fulfill the demand in Ukraine in IT spheres for it to develop with the same pace that as it developed for the last several years, and even faster to reach the KPI that we set for ourselves. And this reform of IT education involves many different components and stages. It's reforms of digital education in schools, reform of changes to approaches to management of universities and colleges and technologies, and many, many other aspects and spheres, new specialties and occupations. Today, we're meeting on the first stage of reform of IT education, launching the project that we'll present, our team will present. And thanks to this project, we'll be able to teach 1,000 Ukrainians for IT occupations. It's not only elaboration and development, also management and design and digital marketing. And on the second stage, we plan to educate 2,000 more people. And next, we will reapply this to tens of thousands of students that will get free education. What is the project about? We pick the best schools, online and offline, that teach IT occupations in Ukraine. We provide them with the opportunity to gather applications from Ukrainians that did not work in IT before. They have interviews, and our partners that we implement this project with, they will pay 100% for education of Ukrainians that pass the interviews in the education companies, and people will be able to get qualification in IT occupations and be employed in the most dynamically developing sphere in Ukraine and in all the world. First step is 1,000 students that will get education for free at the expense of our kind partners, and then 2,000 more, and then 30 to 60,000 of students that will be able to teach for free. The key criteria to become a student and to get education for free: priorly, those people did not have IT education, they did not work in IT sphere. So only those who change the occupation. Yes. Regretfully, we have war in the country, and about 10 million of Ukrainians are IDPs, and many people lost their houses and lost jobs. And we think projects like this are very topical, and we will develop them. There'll be details about project by Deputy Oleksandr, and also our partners from USAID are here that help us financially to implement this project, and Binance company that will help us teach for free the Ukrainians, the first 1,000 of Ukrainians. And upon the results of this first step, we will reapply it and increase the scale. So today is a very important day. We announced the start of the project. Next week, the companies will be able to submit applications to participate in the project, and they will have several weeks, and in September we'll pick the students. So we announce it in advance, so the business and the students have an opportunity to prepare for this project. And last but not least, we solve several tasks for this way. First, we help Ukrainians that lost their jobs, that lost their professions. We let them enter IT business and earn more money. Secondly, we also stimulate edtecho, meaning online education, IT education. We believe in that sphere, and we think that the future billion-dollar companies are IT companies and companies in edtech sphere. So that's development of cluster of such companies that work in IT sphere in education. So with thanks to our current partners, the details of the project will be told by Oleksandr and our partners. Thank you. We will move to details further after everybody had the floor. Oleksandr, the floor is yours. I think Mykhailo pretty much told everything in detail. Firstly, I would like to thank our current partners, because without them, this would not be possible. And it's a great example when the state cooperates with organizations that help Ukraine in humanitarian direction, and the architecture is built this way that right now, as Mykhailo said about it, the first step is the selection of so-called schools or educational institutions that will educate those students, starting from thousands that we spoke about. It will last for 2 weeks. Submission of applications, then the study institutions that fit the criteria, they'll be announced on the website of the project, and after that we will announce the selection of students. And students will be able to apply, choosing the educational institutions that have been confirmed. It won't be for everybody, but any educational institutions can apply. As Mykhailo said, we really believe that one of the priorities for us is edtech, educational technology. And before the war, it was a very powerful, and they continue working. There's a very powerful industry that taught Ukrainians on the short-term courses and give them opportunities to get new education, new profession, or change profession. And we would really want to support them. And after that, speaking of details, the students that apply on the website, they pass qualification in the educational institutions. It's a very important moment. It's not us who pick. None of us present here will choose is this student be applicable or not. It would be done by teaching institutions. And regarding the financing, when the student have passed on this stage, Binance provides grants that the student will receive, and half will be paid in advance, and the rest when the study is over. We'll speak more in detail. Thank you for the information. We'll speak that, and then there'll be Q&A, and I give a floor to Jim Hope, Director of Mission of USAID in Ukraine, and maybe a question to what you will say.
Yeah, thank you, Minister, Deputy Minister, our partners at Binance, and of course all of you. Thanks for coming together for this really important day and announcement. First of all, I'm very happy to be here on behalf of USAID. We have worked in partnership with the people and government of Ukraine for almost 30 years now, and that's going to continue through this activity and many others. And we're particularly proud of the partnership with the Ministry of Digital Transformation and the kind of creativity and innovation that is driving Ukraine now and into the future. Throughout this war, USAID's programs, over 40 of them throughout the country, never stopped. In fact, we redirected, we pivoted resources and programs to respond to new challenges and new needs. And today's discussion about IT generation and this activity is a good example of pivoting to a new opportunity and a new challenge. And we're able to do that together because the IT sector is such an important part, a pillar of Ukraine's economy now, well before, now, and in the future. In fact, I understand that many IT companies are actually already back up and running, and I'm not surprised by that at all. So there's new challenges, as the minister noted, just millions of people who are displaced, unemployed, looking for new opportunities, new futures. And so there are plenty of opportunities to get an economic livelihood, to earn money, to start a business, to grow a business in the IT sector. But skills are essential. You need a skilled workforce for that to be productive and successful. And IT generation is going to build those skills that are needed, supporting Ukrainian capacity and Ukrainian leadership going forward. So USAID will continue to support this and other programs that focus on workforce development through the Competitive Economy Program, through our cybersecurity activities, all of these in areas that are absolutely essential going forward. Because Ukraine's IT sector is strong, it's resilient, just like Ukrainian society. So with that, let me just say that USAID, and really on behalf of the whole U.S. Embassy, we're just very proud to be your partner, proud to stand with Ukraine. Thank you, and дуже дякую.
Thanks a lot for your support. Будь ласочка. Anzhelika.
Anzhelika, Hrokholska, Community Manager of Binance, Ukraine. Please tell us how you will support this project. Thank you. First of all, I would like to say that for Binance, it's a very great honor to participate in this project jointly with the Ministry of Digital Transformation. When I meet different people from NGOs or from government, I always give Ministry of Digital Transformation as an example because they're super fast. They reach the goal super fast. And regretfully, our refugees abroad could compare other countries with Ukraine in digitalization, and more they're convinced that we're the most progressive in Ukraine. And I'm convinced that after our victory, it will be even better. And regarding Binance, one of our key values is freedom from money. And this formula, both words are important, freedom and money. Since the first days of war, we actively help Ukrainians. We're focused on direct support for IDPs, and this our partners assist us locally. That's Polyanitsa and Rotary Club Kyiv International. That kindly help us with cryptocurrency to provide help for IDPs. And we devoted $5 million for that. And within a month, over 2,000 of case of direct help was provided, and direct aid. And also we help our refugees abroad with Brian's refugee card. And also organization iSense helps for this Binance card abroad to put help with the card within 3 months, and $5 million were allocated for that to the project IT generation. That's next stage to support Ukrainians. For us, it's really important the aspect of education. Why? Because we're convinced that the more educated people are, the users are, the better we are as a company. And therefore, we're interested to support educational initiatives, firstly. And IT generation will help Ukrainians that lost jobs because of the war, or that don't have an opportunity to work offline as it was before the war, they'll have opportunities for new careers, for new spheres that will be implemented in IT sector. And thus, this will help us to raise and improve the internal economy, and also it will help Ukrainians to actively support their country during the war. In the framework of partnership, as was mentioned, Binance issued $1 million to implement those educational initiatives for educational courses, and thus people who don't have opportunities to receive high-quality education and get new profession fast, they could do that at the expense of our donation and with the initiative of our generations. Also, it's really important for us that participants will be able to get not only new specialized aspects on development, because IT sector, it's a wide actually range of occupations. There's also marketing and HR and management, and in particular development on blockchain. And for us, as for a company, it's very important to support that initiative and to provide opportunities for people to try something new, to improve their social status, to improve their income, and in perspective to help Ukraine win. Also, I want to point your attention then, Binance as leader in crypto industry has exceptional opportunity to help with assistance of contemporary technologies, joining cryptocurrency and charity. And this helps us to provide maximally efficient and transparent support to those who need it. Once again, I would like to thank you for Binance. It's a great honor to join this initiative, and I'm convinced that in the future we'll implement a lot of very good project with Ministry of Digital Transformation. Thank you. Thank you very much, and please remember our guest that is online, Mr. Babichuk, head of the board of IT Cluster. Good day to you. Good day. Do you hear me? Yes, we hear you. Please explain your participation in the project. First of all, we all know education is important, it's crucial. For Lviv cluster, it's especially important because it's an integral part of our mission and vision, and currently over 200 companies representative of IT sphere are participant of the cluster, and they support this direction very actively. Why IT cluster is here with you? I can say that we have great experience and sustainable experience while working on improving modernization of educational programs. We're involved with that since 2011. And since then, the cluster modernized and elaborated programs in University of Lviv, and right now it's 17 bachelor programs for 4,000 students, and thousands of students finished those programs and successfully got their specialty and work in the IT companies. And during that period of time, we received this sustainable and positive experience in building the programs that will be really efficient. Efficiently, why? Because IT sphere and representative of their experts are actively participate in teaching those students and future employees. They provide high quality mentor support. We review those programs and receive feedback from the sphere, from the industry, and from the schools to make them contemporary and to make them topical. Regarding IT generation in particular, we believe that participating in this project, we will be able to make a good investment into it. And for us, it will be an opportunity to help people that were actually hurt by this war to receive contemporary profession that allows them to feel the ground under their feet, stability, with the kind of help of donors and business. It's a great opportunity for many. We look at it from the standpoint of IT companies that would need high qualified personnel, and looking at a wider scope, those directions will be proposed in this program they'll be useful not only for IT sphere, but also for other spheres that are being digitally transformed or started doing that. Therefore, the project has a wide range, wide scope, and it will demonstrate how partnership between business and the state can have a positive impact on a lot of people and will be a good example for other spheres. And we believe that this program will be successful. And we want to thank the initiators of the program, the partners in business, and NGOs for the support, and the government organization for their kind of support, and for us for having the opportunity to join the program. Thank you. If you have questions, you'll have to introduce yourself and address the question. I have first question to Mr. Minister. Could you speak in more details? Where do you get is the funding for the program? Who will teach? How the graduates will be employed, or will they be employed? Just speak in more detail about those aspects, if you would. We started as IT people. It's a pilot project. We do it with the Binance, and they help us financially because right now the state budget finances military, finances medical sphere, social sphere, so there's now no budget for development. This year we plan to do that for the budget money. We plan 15,000 people to train and wanted to launch this program, but the war that started, changed the plans. Therefore, we do this with kind of help of our partners, USAID and Binance. They financed the first 1,000, from 1,000 to 3,000 students. The first stage is 1,000, and if it all works well, we see the traces. It's a pilot project, yes. The Prime Minister announced a big project, series of projects, and one of the directions is IT, training for IT specialties. And I hope we will win fast, and we'll have a renewal budget, and we will reapply it for 30,000, 60,000 of Ukrainians that will receive new education for a new occupation. We launched this project. Well, lifespan of the courses, the trajectory for 4 to 6 months. It could be 4 months, it could be 8 months, but average is 4 months, up to half a year. The study course. All the occupations are to penetrate the IT sphere. People are trained how to work with those technologies. If it's development, it's how to test the product, how to digital market, many other specialties. Who will teach and how the employment will be conducted? I don't believe in format when the state teaches somebody. We believe in free economy, in market economy. Therefore, we involve companies that did teach hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of Ukrainians in IT, and we join students that want to enter IT and the companies that everybody knows, that are public, that operate, and they showed the results. With kind of help of partners, we create a new market or stimulate this market to develop. So it's like educational engine, yes. Inform. I have 4 questions, all to the minister or to the other people. We'll see. Okay, so if somebody feels that it's their competence to answer, just please, if you would, raise your hand and answer, if you would. First question. In Ukraine, it's not the first time that we massively involve talented youth to IT sphere via state and private initiatives. What is the principal difference of this new project from the previous project? We didn't do that before. If we did this, we would reapply the successful project. It's the first touch of this sphere, the framework of our strategy of reform of education. The difference is we're not trying to monopolize this sphere by state, but we're trying to unite the talented business and students. that want to enter IT sphere. Therefore, I think, in general, that our approach to implementation of digital economy, it shows the result. We made a revolutionary reform of DSCT, one of the best tax systems in the world, and we launched it 2 weeks before the war, and 270 companies are there, and 20,000 work in that cluster, virtual cluster of DSCT. And they paid over the first 5 months, they paid over 1.5 billion hryvnia in taxes. So we know how to build digital economy, and we're convinced this pilot will be successful, because we keep on track what's happening in the world, what projects are implemented, how they operate, and what results they deliver. So it's all different from what we had before. Thank you. Next question. What is the strategic professional focus of this study program? Because Ukraine is the world market of labor, mostly a supplier of outsource IT than Ukrainian development. Does the program consider this specialty, or and do you want to change that trend in IT sphere of Ukraine? Well, firstly, it's especially with a fast start in IT, but there are also jobs with the managerial traits that will help Ukrainians organize their own project. So there are different specialties for outsource also, and the product market as well. I'll give examples. Speaking of outsource market for specialists where people will learn how to develop project. It's front-end Java designers, UX, UI designers also. Speaking of spheres of development of product companies or own business, there are specialties for project management, product management, also specialties related to digital marketing. So people will be able to pick direction, what they want to do. If they want to get educated for a profession, or they want to manage projects in the future, what they want to do. And during testing in schools, well, during the selection project, they will be able to pick the direction, what's best for them. Please. Wanted to add to that Ukraine is very active in development of our own project. Just our problem is we cannot really communicate about it. WhatsApp is made by people from Ukraine, that meant from Ukraine. I found out it from my American friend, just randomly. Also, Trust Wallet, the most popular app for blockchain for cryptocurrency, was created by Viktor Radchenko from Kharkiv, if I'm not mistaken. He's from Ukraine. So it's more about that we have talented people that need to be supported properly and provided with the opportunity, because very often people have talent but don't have an opportunity to get proper education and support that talent with high quality skills. And that story with its fast getting new skills, new trades, it's a world trade, but gradually the world is moving from the idea of getting just one education in the university and for life, just for 4 or 5 years. And the world is so dynamic right now that the useful amount of trades is received fast and starts being implemented fast. And I'm convinced we have a lot of talented people, and this project will help them be all they can be and develop their potential and create a lot of cool Ukrainian project. Yes, and it's good for our economy as well to compete with products, not just be an outsourcer. More questions. A third question. How do you plan to keep those people in Ukraine, those who get creations? So, because international IT giant will compete for that labor, and there could be labor migration for safer countries and for richer employers. Will there be any requirements for them to stay in Ukraine? Actually, right now, there's a great amount of people, millions of people, who moved abroad, and they need to get jobs. What they did in Ukraine, they cannot do it anymore. They lost their job, they lost their occupations. So partially, this program was elaborated for people who left Ukraine. They need to get new jobs. because right now they're forced to move to other countries, to Europe, for instance, to the EU, and they don't have opportunity to have jobs that they had in Ukraine. We see that there is a request because in IT you can work anywhere. You can work distantly, remotely. So firstly, we want the people who are out of Ukraine to get new jobs and feed their families. They did not have a target just to do it for only in Ukraine. But at the same time, we have a high demand for specialists in Ukrainian companies. Before the war, there were 30 and 40 vacancies that could not be filled with help of universities or overall. Now we know the demand is just shortened, but it's also tens of thousands of companies. The majority of people who will learning, they will pick Ukrainian companies. The majority of companies that build offices also in Western Europe. And firstly, we'll have to do it to let Ukrainians earn money. And then, after we've finished the war with our victory, they'll come back, I'm convinced, with a good income. Is there any target audience for pilot projects? Who are there? Were there IDPs or residents of villages, or how do they have access to the program? Anyone can join. The majority of programs will be accessible online. And if I could add to the previous issue, the question was the difference between the programs. And the issue is there are initiatives to teach a lot of IT people, and it was always built on the grounds of new schools that will teach. We decided to step away from it and to pick the teaching institutions that conduct studies as we speak. That it's the main detail, that we're not build something from scratch. We're not building a school that will teach IT personnel that don't have the school that does not have positive experience, but we take the ones that has positive experience and convinced by evidence that they can teach people in IT sphere. And we analyze the situation on EdTech that, according to statistics, roughly 40% of people that return to these short courses, they got jobs. It's a high value, really, 40%. And I agree with Mykhailo that we are inside of planned or forced economy that forces people to join some company. But those companies, they demonstrate that after you graduate, 40% of people get jobs. It's a high value, really. So it's not just an engine, it's just action that all the best training programs will help people get employed. Yes. We have requirements. They're a website, they're available, and you'll be able to see that actually they're very basic. It has to be a theoretical person. So you can see all the it will be offline or offline. There's no requirement to be for it to be online or offline. There is a requirement. It's a juridical person. Has 2+ years of experience in teaching. KPI on index on employment. They have to convince, improve, and if they are successful, if they help people get jobs, how they do it, online or offline, or it's mixed. It's not that important. Very short question. The starting press conference, you said there is about increasing part of IT sector in GDP of Ukraine up to 10%. But at what expense it will be done? It will be grant money or credits? Where would the state get that money during the war? It doesn't work like that. Really, our target is that the part of IT sector investment in the economy be 10% and more. It does not mean that the state has to invest We all invest in GDP. You with your taxes, companies with their taxes, those who exporters, service providers. We wanted, our goal was to stimulate IT sector that it pays more taxes, is able to pay more taxes, and create added value that every developer, every tester, every product manager creates when they get their salary. It's a part of the GDP. If IT sector, for instance, by 90% it's export, they bring foreign currency to Ukraine, and it's added value to the GDP. And it's not something given by the state. The money, it's all welfare of all. It's our well-being. Our welfare increases. More questions? Please introduce yourself and we ask you. Good day, my name is Victoria Horbik, Media DVA. Question to Mr. Minister, could you tell us, will there be guarantees of employment for switchers, or would there be guarantees from on the state level? Well, it depends on the student, how it's built. The educational companies, they receive the second part for the student if the student successfully graduates. Thus, they will pick maximally the higher quality students that will be able to graduate. They understand how many come, how many continue to the middle, how many graduate, what is the conversion for employment. We all understand the average dynamics on the market. Therefore, they have their own methodology, each company. They're similar, but it'll be adapted. Whom they pick, how they train, how they track the efficiency. Therefore, it's built like this. For people to be able to come, they're able to graduate. After they graduate, company receives the second part of the money for training the student, and then there's a highest guarantee that the students will get jobs. This conversion is quite high in the market, I was astonished to see that it's almost 8 out of 10 students, they get jobs in the sphere where they got education. It's related to the quality of selection and also on the teaching institutions. So we hope that while our hypothesis will work, and in the end we'll see 80–90% that will be employed. But we don't make excessive regulatory measures in this sense, because we're convinced that the sphere is built like this, that it will be able to generate efficient educational products and students who will be able to get jobs. And in each block will be a separate module on how to start working. And Oleksandr was saying that 30–40,000 students, graduates, that were lacking in the sector, and now the sector has not developed this same pace because of the war, but there is still a need, and I think in the closest months we'll understand the real need, because the structure of the market will change. There's relocation, companies relocate, clients start to, there's different dynamics of cooperation with Ukrainian companies, and we make everything possible to make it possible, but there are different situations. Therefore, in several months, we'll be able to make a prognosis, to make an estimate what will be your actual need in students, and will be what kind of students they'll need, and what's happening with the market. Therefore, we're saying that it's a pilot project, and it will always the opportunity to generate the most probable increasing the scale. And IT sector keeps growing. Yes. The values are even higher than the first quarter or second quarter of previous year. But I think it's, for the most part, it's the income is higher than previous year, but it's more due to the results that we had. It's delayed results, yes. So in the close future, we'll see, but we do everything possible in complex with different stimuli for IT sphere to develop. We're speaking about KPI of 1,000, 3,000, and 60,000. But what will be the measure of success, will be an indicator of success? I can answer that. For us, for our team, the success is 90% of students who trained, they'll all be employed in the specialty where they trained. They'll be employed and they will receive money. And for us, it will also be successful, but it will depend not only on us. There are many factors that the demand for juniors in different spheres, it will sustain in this year, but it depends on the market also, in attitude of international companies to Ukraine, key companies, so they're not afraid to order products. It's digital diplomacy, as we call it, and we'll focus on that. Thank you. There are no questions. I will a question, and I ask to join. What is the interest of schools, of this training institutions? You can answer. What is their motivation, financial, non-financial? What is the principle of their cooperation? What are the bonuses? They'll get students that will bring them money for the course. It's the best motivation, I think. And you know, I think it's one of the best examples what needs to be done by the state jointly with partners. Forgot one more partner to mention, UNDP, that also is involved with this project and help us a lot for the industries that during the war either stalled or shortened, to give them some push, some impulse. For instance, industry like movie industry, they just stopped, made a full stop. Naturally, the industries that don't depend on this, like crypto industry, is not really dependent on war in Ukraine. Well, they do. Well, depend on other things, but it will all be fine. We believe in crypto, and the best times are ahead. But speaking of the education in Ukraine, it shortened in Ukraine during the war. And this program will allow them to fill the classes, and that during the war they can sustain. And I don't think it's about the only money, but there are teachers who receive salaries. There is a lot of expenses that have to be covered, and it's important for us to maintain this industry. And I think one of the most important tasks is to, when the war is over, that we still have educational industry that is operating and it's not bankrupt. So if now we're teaching 1,000 people, then more, and then when Mykhailo says we'll increase the scale to tens of thousands, this will allow us to reach the target and to sustain. Ivan, maybe you will add to that. What's the model? What's the motivation? Alexei explained it well. And motivation is finance. They'll have additional flow of students. They'll be able to pay for education via this grant program. But I would want to add to what Alexei said on how topical that is to build this program. Any educational process has a lag when it can deliver results. And we believe that the war will end soon, and the growth will start, and we have to prepare for the growth. Because if it will lag and lag and lag, this preparation will lag our economy. And we believe that IT has to be the essential part, maybe more than 10% of our GDP. If there are no questions, I have the final question. There's a student that potentially wants to join. What is my step-by-step instruction? Where do I go? Where do I look at the information? Where do I apply? And the main thing, do I have to pay for it? step-by-step instruction is as follows. Right now, this schools that want to join the program, they have to address the website itgeneration.gov.ua, fill the application online. We take 2 weeks that jointly, thanks to IT cluster, to take the winners, so to speak. And then in August, we announce open call for students. And students, also on the website, will be able to apply. And if they are selected, Binance give them this grant. Will also be detailed instruction how to get it. They'll have to create an account, but it's very simple, really. And after that, when the program started, 50% will be paid, and in the end, 50 will be paid. That's in a nutshell the instruction how to use it. It will be very simple, very, very simple. There will be support. There are questions. There will be a line for answering questions. I don't think anyone will have problems with them. Communication program will be some support communication program to support that. Oh yes, I think that we will speak about it all the time. Thank you very, very much for this very useful project information. We were speaking today about education and about how Ukrainians can actually change themselves and the country now and after our victory. Mykhailo Fedorov was with us, a Minister of Digital Transformation, Digital. It's a brand in Ukraine. Oleksandr Borniakov, Deputy Minister of Digital Transformation on Development IT. Jim Hope, Director of Mission of USAID in Ukraine. And Anzhelika Hrokholska, Community Manager of Binance Ukraine. And Ivan Babichuk, Head of the Board of Lviv IT Cluster. Thank you all for participating in our event. See ya.